The Republican Party is a demonic death cult that sacrificed their children in return for power and money and sell all of their morals on a daily basis and enjoy the suffering of little ones. What's up, YouTube? Drill Sergeant here, and I believe everything I just said, factually, honestly. And I'm going to have some stories today, few that just came out and one that came out a couple days ago that are going to further prove that fact, but a couple stories here and there can't prove such a visceral, bombastic claim. Can't prove such a inflammatory claim. To make such an inflammatory, widespread claim, I would have to have the amount of proof that is undeniable to any reasonable person. In the law, reasonable is a word that's used to indicate that most people would understand, that the rest of the normies, the human beings, can say beyond a reasonable doubt, would reasonably assume, or would reasonably concur. So that's what I'm going to use. Let's start from the beginning. The two stories I'm going to show you, I'm going to bring them up in just a second. But throughout human history, there has been sickos. In Greece, in ancient Greece, they did all kinds of things to children. And it was just written down in books like boyfriends and girlfriends. It's gross. They did really gross stuff and saw it as normal. In Rome, under Caligula, he tried to make even more disgusting things normal. Dictated, mandated by law, some of the grossest things you could ever think about. I'm not going to go into that history here. What I am saying is, on all accounts, history has had gross people. And so to say that just one party, or just these people who do this thing, they're the only ones who are like this. No, it's a human thing. Humans are disgusting. Humans are disgusting. Those who use religion or who say that they're religious say that we need God to get over that disgusting thing that are in most humans. Others would say that that's why we have laws and government and people holding them accountable. So when I say that Republicans are a death cult full of people who sacrifice their children on the altar of power and money and sell their morals every day and enjoy the suffering of children, don't think that that means only Republicans do those things. There was a guy named Anthony David Weiner, I believe. He used to be a congressman, a Democratic congressman. I loved him. He was outspoken. He had seemingly fairly good ideas. Turns out he was talking to a 16-year-old in a chat, texting back and forth. The people found it out, and the Democratic Party got rid of him faster than you could spell his name. Gone. See you later. Anybody remember Barney Frank? I think his name was Barney Frank. He used to be a comedian, came in really good. Somebody caught him in a picture going like this. Boobies. I mean, just comedians are weird anyway, but it was unacceptable. The person who he was doing it to, who was asleep at the moment, who he didn't touch, said that she knew him and that was kind of how they played around. And he still got kicked out.
Damn.
So when I say the cult, that's the difference. Humans are disgusting. Republicans aren't the only ones who do gross things. The cult is the only one who allows it continuously as a practice. And then they go through the humiliation ritual of making their constituents have to agree with it or be kicked out. That's a cult. That's exactly what cults do. Give me your wife and then your daughter, because only I deserve to do my thing with them. And if you loved the cult, you would do it. Does that ring a bell? Have you heard of cults like that? Well, have you seen what Pam Bondi did yesterday? Did you see... I'm sorry. Let's go back. Have you seen the Republican Party in the past 20, 30 years? Oh, you thought it was... What Trump did was make it okay to say it out loud. But in Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Mississippi, Florida, and Alabama, in Louisiana and Texas, they've always been okay with electing people who were diddling kiddlies. It was not a problem, as long as you weren't black. You see, in exchange for power, those same churches have been diddling them forever, and they would elect those same pastors who they knew diddled them back into pastorship and then into government over and over again. That's the beginning of the cult-like behavior. Everything I'm saying is facts, and you know it. The difference between them and the Democrats is Democrats are corrupt, love money, but have shame. And when found out to doing something as disgusting as diddling kiddlies, they do what they have to do to get rid of them. Republicans are shameless monsters who care only about power and money and will forego all morals, forget what they said yesterday, in order to gain power over others, and not only for power's sake, but to subjugate them, and they get off on that subjugation. Hence my last part, what I said they are. And enjoy the suffering of little ones. And believe every word of it. They enjoy the suffering of children. They feign pain and distress when hearing about children suffering until power is involved. Their power. Not just arbitrary power, their power. And when that happens, you turn into Pam Bondi and you watch as the people behind you who were victims and now survivors of such acts doesn't disturb you at all for hours on end as you berate and destroy any semblance of decency that they may have had left, and smile while you do it. But that's Pam Bondi. That's not the average Republican. Who did you vote for? Are you a Republican still after that? If you're saying to me, well, I'm a Republican, but I don't like that. If you're the only one that was so dumb, stupid, idiotic, brainless, and foolish to not know that this was the person you were voting for who's already been convicted of it, and that this is what would become of his cabinet, all of them in the Epstein files. By the way, how many Democratic lawmakers are in the Epstein files? I'll let you do that and get back to me on it. Look it up and then get back to me on it at the end of this video. By the way, on the other hand, if Trump was to run again today, would you still vote for him? I'm a Republican, but I don't agree with Pam Bondi. You don't have to say it out loud. It's the beauty of YouTube. It's in your own home. You know the answer to that, don't you? So yeah, the ones who have decided to turn over a new leaf and no longer be a Republican, well then you don't apply, do you? You're not a Republican. My statement stands as of the moment I said it into perpetuity until something other has been revealed through your party. Here's the first story. This one just came out, as far as I know.
This chair of the Wasatch County GOP Board of Directors is now stepping in as the chair.
Yeah, this comes after the chair, David Johnson, was arrested for aggravated accused of waterboarding his 16-year-old child. 2 News' Natalie Wattis spoke with Heber City Police Chief, has reaction from state leaders tonight. She's live from Wasatch County with the latest. Natalie?
Well, the Heber City Police Department tells me they deal with reports of but they tell me that it's very rare that a victim comes forward with a report of torture like this one.
When I first heard it, piqued my interest because I really hadn't heard that before associated with the
term waterboarding used here. Can you kind of define that for me?
Sure. So that was the term that was used by the victim in this case and came through on that CAN-R report.
That not feel safe in her home and feared for her life.
The police report states the girl reported her father being upset that she didn't clean her room well enough and that he grabbed her by the back of the neck and repeatedly dunked her head into a sink full of water.
What occurred in this case was he would fill up a sink and then hold the child's head underwater for 20 to 30 seconds and then pull the head out of the water.
Johnson was arrested Tuesday evening for aggravated booked into Wasatch County Jail. Would a child torture charge apply here as well?
That's something our detectives will look at, along with the county attorneys.
The police report says the victim also disclosed another incident of her father doing this to her younger sibling. I reached out to the Wasatch County Republican Party, which Johnson has been the chair of. I received a statement saying in part the vice chair will assume his responsibilities, that they trust the police and legal system to conduct a thorough investigation, and that they're, quote, encouraging the community to refrain from judgment until the facts and evidence have been presented. 2 News asked Senate Republican leadership about the situation.
I don't think it matters party official or who it is. It's a horrible thing. So I think regardless of his title.
Worst part about that story is, YouTube, obviously, the pain and the suffering of the child. The worst part about that story is the cult, who still can't condemn it, who can't cede their power for the sake of decency and the safety of a child. They said, nobody should be doing that. Nobody. But it was your party, wasn't it? I mean, it doesn't matter whose party it was. Wow. Not even in the face of waterboarding children can you just say, imagine the hold that cult has on you, the leader of your party. Yeah, throughout the history of humans, we have been disgusting. And the only thing holding disgusting humans back from the majority of decent humans has been a culture, a society, a civilization, a mindset of what is decent and acceptable. And when it becomes Greece, there is no indecency. And when it becomes America, there's only one decent side, despite their corruption and despite all the things I say, because only one side will get rid of a wiener, Anthony Weiner, Frank, Al Frank, that's his name, Al Frank. No. Here's the second story. You may have heard this one.
A MAGA dad fatally shot his own daughter after arguing about Donald Trump. A Trump supporter shot and killed his own daughter during an argument about Trump. The victim you're looking at was 23 years of age, named Lucy Harrison. Lucy Harrison. This is her dad, Chris Harrison. This is a disturbing and difficult story. The man shot his daughter at his home in the United States after the pair had an argument about Donald Trump. A man shot his daughter at his home in the U.S. Police in the town investigated. They investigated the 23-year-old's death as possible manslaughter. They're not disputing. It's okay, possibly manslaughter. But no criminal case was brought against Mr. Chris Harrison after a grand jury in Collin County declined to indict him. Remember, grand jury proceedings are top secret. We don't know what was said, what was presented, or how it was specifically presented to that grand jury. His partner had asked her father during the Trump row, how would you feel? This means argument. How would you feel if I was the girl in that situation and I'd been sexually assaulted? End quote. Chris Harrison, the father, had replied that he had 2 other daughters who lived with him, so he would not be upset. It would not upset him that much. Littler said Lucy became quite upset, ran upstairs. I'm sure she was crying on the inside, if not on the inside and outside. There was no investigative prowess by the Texas authority. Another country decided to make an inquest into this, given the family's domicile in Cheshire. This is the reason we have evidence on record, because of their investigation, not because of the investigation in Texas. Just want to remind everybody. Her father tried to cover it up according to the investigation. The statement from Chris Harrison said, Harrison said he could not recall whether his finger was on the trigger. He acknowledged he had issues with alcohol in the past and said he, quote, briefly lapsed, end quote, on the day of his daughter's death because he was emotional about her leaving. At the conclusion of the 2-day hearing at Cheshire Coroner's Court, Senior Coroner Jacqueline Devonish found Harrison, quote, knew full well he had shot his own daughter, pointing a gun at chest height and pulling the trigger, end quote. She ruled Lucy died due to unlawful killing on the grounds of gross negligence, manslaughter. Let's back up just for a moment, because even if you believe the dad's account, that is still considered murder in the United States of America. You don't get to cite being drunk if you drove drunk, got a DUI, and committed manslaughter, kill somebody.
I put this one up earlier, and I mainly talked about the fact that you guys would sell your daughters to Epstein, to Trump, to Miller, to Elon, to all four of them at the same time so they could have their way with her. You may even watch if you're just indoctrinated enough, because you'll turn around and tell yourself it's for the good of the whatever, party, God, church. I meant that. I've said it many times, and you think I'm being hyperbolic. What I'm telling you is, you don't think that now until the question comes up. Just like you didn't think that you would be okay with your president and all of the cabinet members being in the Epstein files when you didn't think they were in it. But what you've proven is that all it takes is the confrontation. When it actually gets asked of you, you will do that. I believe it, even though you don't think so. And after you do it, you'll make an excuse for it, like Megyn Kelly.
Yeah, so I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody
come forward and say, I was I was under 10, I was under 14.
There's a difference between a 15-year-old
and a 5-year-old.
And I just want to make sure that the point has been made that what I said in the beginning is true. And all of the resistance members, this is an education. There are bad people on both sides. Only one side is a cult that draws them in, that invites them in, elects them, prays to them, and then sacrifices their morals and children to them. So I will never, ever cede the moral high ground to you. You're racist too. But it's messed up when racist is the least bad thing you are. Republicans, all of you, if you're still a Republican and you'd still vote for Trump, that includes you. Every last one of you. And for the ones who think that they wouldn't vote for Trump anymore, I'd wait until I see it to believe it, because you've lost the benefit of the doubt, if you don't mind. The time to fight is now. Hey, yeah, you. Before you click away to watch someone unbox a tactical toothbrush, let's talk about something real. Political Drain isn't just another content mill. We're a digital front in a very real war. Not with bullets, but with ideas, with action, and with solidarity. We pair urgent news with critical education. And we build community around actual resistance, not the hashtag kind. The kind that moves. But here's the thing. None of this is free. It isn't. Behind every video is time, labor, research, and some weird guy asking if we're going to pay the hosting bill. And yeah, some of that money goes to things we can't necessarily say out loud. If you know, you know. Let's just say Our special ops aren't Call of Duty LARPers. They're people making real moves to protect, uplift, and organize. You're not just funding a channel. You're funding a resistance network in a world where capital still calls the shots. Unfortunately, in a system built on artificial scarcity, even mutual aid has a price tag. And if we want to grow, if we want to win, we need your help. We need your help. So if you've got even a few bucks to spare, toss it our way. It's not for ads, it's not for merch drops, but for people making moves in the shadows so others can do it in the light. It's just us and you. So fund the mission, fund the fight, fund the future, because nobody's coming to save us. We save each other. That's how this works.